we're here amongst the beautiful high-rise buildings of Shanghai for stage 1 of the Hyundai Archery World Cup 2018. Already we've been at the Yuanshan Sports Stadium for qualification and the elimination stage, and now we're here, right in the centre of Pudong for Recurve Finals Day. Lu Jiawei Park, in fact, and it's a little bit hazy here today. Conditions still very good, and today in this session we've got the Recurve team matches. There you go, a little cooler than it was yesterday, but it still feels quite muggy out there. But shooting over this fantastic lake has proved to be very, very spectacular. So it's my pleasure to bring you live coverage here from session 1 today of the Recurve. And joining me, an Olympic medalist no less from Australia, Ryan Tyak. Ryan, we've got a bronze medal match coming up in the women's team first off. And what can we expect from China versus Germany?
We've got two teams that are featuring several Olympians, and so we're probably going to expect quite a good match going forward.
Well, that's followed by a gold medal match a little bit later on, and then the men's team bronze and gold after that, and that will complete our session today for the team events. But we've got two sessions, mixed teams coming up later on, but more about that. First up, the bronze medal match in the women's team of Recurve, the Olympic discipline, and the first stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup here in Shanghai. And here is a tale of the tape. Interesting quarterfinals, but as you can see, it was China that fell, well, fairly dramatically to the world #1 team, Korea, in the semi-finals, and Germany in a tight one against Chinese Taipei. You were talking about that a little earlier on, Ryan.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and going from a loss in a semi-final, it comes down to how good your game plan was and how prepared you were to go forward and to go into the next match to try and win.
Well, here they come, being presented out to the crowd. The Chinese team first. Well, that Chinese team have pulled a big crowd out here in Shanghai's equivalent to Manhattan. A lot of partisan support out there, but I'm not sure that's going to affect this strong German team. They're lining up to be presented to the crowd. Well, they're nearly ready to go. Ryan, talk us through how this team event works and how the scoring works.
Each team will shoot 6 arrows, and then after those 6 arrows, they'll decide who's won the set, or perhaps they've tied the set. And so from there, it'll come down to who can win 3 sets to win the match.
So an opportunity to recover if you have a bad set.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the main difference between the Recurve matches and the compound. If you have a bad set, you can make up for it in the next one.
Well, China start with an 8. Each archer will fire 1 arrow each. And if you like, the Recurve sets are in 2 halves. So the Chinese will all shoot first, 1 of their arrows. Then we'll flip over to the Germans, and then it'll be back to the Chinese to fire arrows 4, 5, and 6. So a 27 out of a possible 30 for China. Steady start?
It's not a bad start. We'll see how the Germans can reply.
So we've had the first half, Ryan, a 27 versus a 25. Now, how does that match up?
So what's happened there is that the Germans may have read the wind different, or perhaps they're just gotten off to a slow start from the practice field.
So we see the first 3 arrows from the Chinese team all lined up across the middle on a diagonal. These ones seem to be drifting a bit off to the left.
Yeah, so the first archer from China, they've had both the arrows go left, and the German archer has had a few of them go left, so there must be a bit of wind there.
Well, 53 out of 60. The Germans are going to have to outscore what they did in their first 3.
Yeah, that first archer for the German team, just like the Chinese, both arrows have actually gone high. So maybe she's looking at the lighting differently from the direction of the sun.
And shooting second, do you get that advantage of seeing what the conditions are like? Can you tell much from what the other team are doing?
You can do sometimes. So sometimes from if it's really windy, you'll be able to read that off what the other team does. But in the end, you don't know if it's their mistake or just the weather.
Well, even with that second arrow debatable score, I was just about to say, even with a 10, they can't outscore China in this first set. China strike first with those 2 points.
Schießen loslassen, ich weiß nicht, wo ist deine. Ja, ist fast ähnlich. Ja, eure Job machen. Auf geht's.
8, 8, 8. Target 2. X. 9, 8, 8, 8, 8.
Well, the judge there confirming the scores there, Ryan. Crucial that second arrow from Germany.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, if you look in the background, you can actually see the flags are moving. And that's what's causing their groups to go a bit left, as the playback can show us right now.
Yeah, and this brilliant visual that we've got here, those 3 8s on the left all drifted across. And it was a good spot from you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as you can see from the keen individual, you'll see that there's actually a wind meter on the scoreboard as well.
So this is the women's team recurve bronze medal match. China strike out early with the first set and 2 points, but in this setup and in this discipline, the Olympic discipline in archery, there is an opportunity for the Germans to recover, and we're just about to get underway for that second set. So there are the first 3 arrows from the Germans. They've had half of this second end. Typically, how long does it take for a team to sort of settle into a match like this for a medal?
There's various different factors to count. Maybe they're not looking at the wind, or maybe they're not communicating with each other how much they're adjusting for it.
China nailing their first arrow.
Yeah, maybe in front of the home crowd they're feeling a bit amped up, but they also might just have a really good game plan on how to handle the situation.
They're all in the golds at the moment. That was a 9. But anything more than 6 here, and the Chinese are going to take a hold of the second end.
It was only an 8, but it's still enough to maintain a lead, and that'll be helpful with the back half of this end coming up.
You talk about game plan. What would the game plan for the Germans be here? I mean, they're just looking to nail 10s now.
I mean, they still have a chance to win the set, but they can also look forward to really making sure that they're centering themselves going forward. And that first archer's keeping them in the yellow, so that might be it.
Well, that's the best one so far.
We'll see if they can continue this going into the next few sets.
Yeah, putting the pressure onto the Chinese team, but they are shooting just a little bit more consistently, the home team. And just hitting the line there.
Touching the line is enough to get the higher score.
Ooh.
That's quite interesting to see the arrow go high there, but if they can maintain for 10 and a 9, they'll tie the set and they'll still have the lead for the match overall.
Well, there's the 9.
So now a 10 is the best they need, and that'll tie the set. Anything less, and they'll actually give this set back to Germany.
Well, from a great first 3 arrows, China now have all the pressure on them.
Oh, beautiful.
Under pressure, the Chinese get the 10, and it's a share of the spoils in the second end. Germany get off the mark, but still trail by 2. But we started to see a little bit more consistency around the center for the Germans.
Yeah, exactly. They're coming back strong, and they're finding where they're going. But obviously that's why the Chinese have that archer last to hit that 10 when they need it.
Well, look at that. You said they're hitting the 10s. That last one was a super shot, though.
That's exactly why she's in that position, so that when the crunch time comes...
So what's your Mandarin like?
My Mandarin's not great. I can say hello, I can say thank you, but she's probably telling them about the weather and to keep calm and to have a stable place of mind.
Well, there, the scores confirmed after the judges and the agents have had a look at the target faces. And as you can see, the judge is calling for Germany to shoot first. First 3 arrows for Germany, third set of the bronze medal match in the women's recurve team event. So these first 3 arrows for Germany, quite crucial. 9s and 10s is what they're looking for?
I mean, at this point, they really want to be putting the pressure on, because if China can win this set, they'll actually win the entire match.
Good second arrow, though. That's the consistency that they're trying to get to. 9s and 10s.
Olympic silver medalist shooting the 10 for the German team, and it's quite obvious, just like the Chinese, why she's shooting last.
China have been good in the first half of all of the ends so far.
Ooh, and I think that might have been the same archer that shot the 7 last round, so she really needs to try and calm down a bit and compose herself again.
Well, the second archer's been shooting well. Could they, or are they allowed to change the order if they want to?
So you can change the order at any time, so long as that for each 3 arrows, each archer is shooting 1 of them.
Nailed it again. And if you liked, the anchor archer in each team really carrying or doing the heavy lifting.
And that's great. So if they come back with 2 more 10s here, they'll clinch the set before China even shoots.
Well, a 9. Now the pressure really on there, and these close-ups of the archers just as they're about to release really reveal the story of the tension.
Yeah, you can see them shaking just a little bit, and that might be from the nerves, or it might just be excess tension, and they're trying a bit too hard to hit the middle.
Oh, beauty, absolute beauty. I mean, you know, in essence, it's a simple game. Fire your arrow closest to the center, more closely than the opposing team, and you win. But there's just so much more to it when you start thinking about the mind games and the pressure of the score.
Exactly, and so China can still win this set here, and they'll actually win the match if they get a 10 right now.
And who is coming up? The star player for the Chinese team. A 10 for the bronze. Ooh, it's a 9. It's not enough.
And so now going forward, Germany must win the next set to force a shoot-off.
So anything less, a draw for China in the next set will indeed take them to the bronze medal.
Target 2, 10, 9, 9, 9, 8, 7. Oops. Good.
Selber hochpushen, braucht nicht. Einfach gehen, eure Technik machen. Sauber, Technik, nichts anderes. Gut. Mutig, mutig, mutig.
没人看你，你就做好你自己。你俩都稍稍往左调一点。
China is second.
So both coaches very vocal. And you've got to be fair, the Germans have kept the Chinese honest here, still trailing, and they'll shoot first again.
耐心是最重要的，到这个时候啊。
Well, good first arrow, nice start there. She took her time though, didn't she, Ryan, on that first one?
I think what they were trying to do there is that take your time and get a good shot in so that the next archers can feel a bit more comfortable.
Well, it looks like it's working.
And they're really putting the pressure to China here.
Well, it's the best start to an end so far, and they've waited till the fourth. Well, 27 out of a possible 30. China up next, started 7-9-9 in the last set. Can they do better than that?
10, beautiful, there you go. She had 2 7s and then she came back through and has shot 2 10s since.
坚决一点，发力垂手，敢于发力，走起来。下来啊，右下把，右一把，可以啊，稍稍调一点点，一气呵成，用力回收，走起来。
Oh, absolutely nailed it again.
She's really showing that she deserves to be on this podium and she's making a case for it.
Yeah, she really is holding the team together. I mean, they're all shooting pretty well. 3 arrows to save it for Germany, and an 8. Well, you know what? I'd be happy shooting an 8, but this is a bronze medal match at the Hyundai Archery World Cup Stage 1, and I think she might need a little more than that for her team. Another 8.
放大描取咱们啊，无所谓的事情啊，做自己的东西。
Well, that was good. That was required.
China only needs a 25, but there is the medal at the end of it.
Yep, so the pressure will build, but at least Germany have made sure that they can't win it into just 2 of the 3 arrows. An 8. So, maybe a little bit of tension again.
Exactly, but they do still have that strong archer shooting last.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that'll do it. A 9, and now just 8 to win. And she has been banging it into the 10 here consistently throughout this bronze medal match. What can she do? And it's a 9, it's bang on the line. And China, it took them a while to get there, but they have taken the bronze medal in the women's team recurve. Right, look, they obviously very happy, and the handshakes all around. They deserve to win it, but and the crowd were absolutely delighted with that. Public holiday here, so really packed out to the rafters. But Germany really sort of made them work for it in the end.
Yeah, so at the very start, it didn't seem like it was going to be as much of a match as it ended up being, and they've really shown that both of them could have been podium finishers at the end of it.
Well, there we go. Confirmation of the result, and waving to the adoring home fans there. China pick up the bronze at home in Shanghai in stage 1 of the Hyundai Archery World Cup. And here we see some of those fabulous shots from the Chinese team.
And you can see how strong she was holding that bow nice and steady, and that helped to get more 10s, obviously.
How much of an advantage being at home? I mean, you saw that grouping there.
Well, especially compared to a European nation, they've travelled a long way, and so they've been here for a while and they're quite tired, and they're able to get this far.
Well, there is confirmation of the bronze, and a very, very happy home crowd here. There's one more match to go in the women's team recurve, and of course, it is the gold medal match. And that's coming up very shortly. World number 1 against the world number 2.
Chinese team has to stay here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the athletes to the field for the Recurve women's team gold medal match.
So the teams coming out for the gold medal match in the women's team Recurve, and it is an absolute humdinger. The world number 1 team, Korea, will face the world number 2 team, Chinese Taipei.
Representing Republic of Korea. Shanghai Jin, Kang Che-yang, Lee Un-jung. 2号马位来自中华台北 ，on target number 2, representing Chinese Taipei. 雷千英、彭千茂、田亚季担任本场比赛的起射线裁判是。The line judge for this match is Kazakhstan.
Okay, archers, get ready. Korea shoots first. Chinese Taipei shoots second.
哎，他叫我不要出去，你们就过来喊一下。他说不要出去，我本来说尽量。
Match begins.
So here we go, the gold medal match in the women's team Recurve. The world number 1 team Korea go up against the world number 2 team Chinese Taipei.
And they elected to shoot first as well.
3 arrows from each team will take us to the halfway point. What a start. Well, an amazing start there from the Korean team, just dropping 1.29 out of a possible 30. So we're going to have 3 arrows from Chinese Taipei now, and the pressure really on.
She's able to open up with a really close 9, but obviously Korea confident they'd come out of the gate really fast, and that's why they elected to shoot first, put on the early pressure.
Sweet.
Wow, wow, wow. They've matched them arrow for arrow. What accuracy. Korea absolutely blitzed their semi-final, 5-1 over China, but it was a tight one for Chinese Taipei over Germany, winning in a tiebreaker 5-4. Does that play a part?
It could play a part. It might also just be an indication of how good the teams in the bronze medal match were. I mean, both these teams have made it this far without losing a single match, and so it'll come down to who's the best of the best.
Well, a bit of an adjustment there, perhaps. That penultimate arrow going a little high.
Yeah, arrows 4 and 5 went a bit high, but the current Olympic champion is able to hit the 10 every time, so it'll be interesting to see if it's the archer or not.
Oh, superb. And I'll tell you what, the groupings of the Chinese Taipei athletes' arrows, very tight.
Another one that's gone high. Maybe there's a bit of an uplift somewhere out over the water.
Well, another 10 and a brilliant start for the Koreans, but Chinese Taipei absolutely matched them and then overtook them in the second half of the set, and they pick up the first 2 points. Ryan, great start from the world number 2.
It's a fantastic match to watch right now, and at this point, looking at the Falcon Eye, you can see just how tight their groups were. Korea's got a couple that have gone high, and Taipei, they've put them all really close to the middle, so it'll be very interesting to see how this goes on.
Yeah, we talked about this. So the yellow dots are the Korean arrows, the red ones are the Chinese Taipei ones, and you know, as we said, that grouping in the middle, just the one up to the left, bit of blustery wind perhaps.
Could be a bit of wind, it could be a thermal off the water. I mean, it's really interesting to see the wind direction changing.
And here are some of those super shots from Chinese Taipei. Look how close to the center they are.
5比1战胜了意大利，在1/4的淘汰赛5比1战胜了英国，在半决赛是
因为他最后一支画面切错，
附加赛战胜了德国队，来到了今天的金牌赛。
来，加油！哎呀，
那韩国
不错啊，不错啊！
Chinese Taipei shoots second.
好，韩国队首先
Range clear.
So here we go. Second end of the gold medal match here in Shanghai. The trailing team and the world number 1, Korea, will shoot first. They chose to shoot first in the first set. This time they're forced to shoot first. Well, not a bad start. How crucial is a good start to this second set for the Koreans?
Perhaps for their own personal confidence, it's very important that they win this set, and that way they won't be able to get too outside of themselves worrying about the result. Both shots so close.
Yeah, if you touch the line of the rings on the face of the target, you will get the higher score, but those two just outside the 10 ring.
My assumption is that she may be aimed off, taking the other arrows into account, but the wind may have changed in the meantime.
All these tiny little adjustments, so crucial. So that's the first 3 from Korea.
Okay, 10!
Obviously, whatever the coach pointed out to their archers in between the sets has really paid off, and the Chinese Taipei team has come back really well, shooting a 10.
Okay, 11.97，没问题啊。
Both arrows just a little bit high.
So just adjusting there, a little one to the right, looking down the range, 70 meters they shoot across. How tough is that, Ryan?
Actually, to be able just to hit the target, you have to hold your arm within 1 degree of motion just to be able to score. They're probably looking for 2 more 10s here, really.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to need it, and Chinese Taipei have come out against the world number 1 team, and they mean business. Korea have all the pressure on them right now.
There's another 10 again. Both those archers, even their 9s, weren't far out, and so they have a chance to be able to still have this set.
Big pressure on this final arrow for Korea in set 2.
Wow.
9 might just be gold medal at stake, but you wouldn't know it from the first archer there, shooting a 10 as though she's just out having a game with her friends.
They are the world #1, and so this is where they're trying to prove that they do still have the match and they can still have control. Beautiful. I mean, there you go, 10-10, and now the Olympic champion shooting, and she's done well so far.
Well, if ever you needed a perfect start to a set, this is it, and Korea have done it. 30 points from the 30 available in the first half of their arrows. What can Chinese Taipei do?
Maybe a 9, but it's still really close to that 10 ring.
Well, sometimes the pressure of going second and having to match up to a perfect score will make you just drift off a little bit. But a great adjustment there from the third archer from Chinese Taipei to pull off a 10, trailing by 3 halfway through the third set.
And that's where communication comes in. She may have fed off what the other archers told her and was able to adjust accordingly. 4 10s in a row. They are the world #1 after all.
And under all that pressure as well, it's amazing. At 4-0 down, you know, on the brink potentially of going out in this set, now they're bringing their A game. Oh, that's terrible. That's a 9. You look at the groupings there. I mean, it's just phenomenal. We just saw that shot of the apple. That's what they're hitting. Just that small ring there in the middle. Incredible.
If she can hit the apple again, they win the set.
Well, that'll do. She has taken them to more than 30 points into the lead, so it's definitely 2 points for Korea in this set. Look, when you're in this situation, I mean, you've got an Olympic medal in the men's team at 2016 Olympic Games. Are you just shooting to sort of keep your eye in?
You got a few options here. You don't have to shoot, but you could choose to shoot, and so this way they might be able to adjust and have confidence into the next round that they're still able to shoot well, or perhaps learning what the weather's doing. So as you can see, her 2 arrows have both gone higher.
Well, they're not mucking around, are they? They're just getting these ones out. So there you have it, 2 points for Korea, and they did need that. Anything from Chinese Taipei in that set would have spelt the end for Korea in this gold medal match. So we often talk about momentum in sport, and the Koreans were trailing by 4 points, but they came into that set and went 10-10, 10-10, and the momentum's definitely shifted.
It's definitely in their favour, so it'll be interesting to see how Chinese Taipei can respond, and if they can, and if Korea can hold on and keep charging forward.
Well, smiles on their faces, very relaxed.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see the coach is talking, but we can't hear him at the moment, and he might just be telling them to keep their composure and go on.
1号栏位韩国首先起射。
Range is clear. Korea to shoot first again.
It's on the line, but it's called a 9, so we'll see what happens. And there is obviously a little bit of wind variance down there.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday. Wind changing a little bit throughout the day. Well, there you go, a bit of correction, and that's in the 10. The other thing here is the humidity, and it's actually more humid today than it was yesterday. Does that play a factor?
That can really play a factor, and it would probably do more to the Koreans than the Chinese Taipei team, given that in their country it is quite humid as well.
The Chinese Taipei team perhaps more used to these conditions, which saw them getting off to a better start, perhaps.
That could be it, and this might actually be considered a dry day for them.
Well, a 28 to beat, scoring with an 8 there. It's a bit better. I talked about momentum. I mean, do you really feel that in team matches? Can you feel it within a set?
I'm not really sure if you can feel it, but it definitely is a thing that happens, and so you really do notice the momentum can swing quite a lot.
Well, it's shifted here. Korea have a 2-point advantage after the halfway stage of the 4th set. Well, a 29 will win it for the second 3 arrows.
Exactly, and then that will force a shoot-off, which will be really exciting for a gold medal match between the number 1 and number 2 teams.
You read my mind, Ryan. Well, will they go for a measure on that one?
They might measure the first one from Korea, and hopefully the Chang here can shoot a 10 and put the pressure back on Chinese Taipei. And there's that 10.
Yeah, the 10 really has put the pressure on. Now Chinese Taipei need 29 just to draw level.
There's the 9, and 2 10s here will actually win the whole match.
Yeah, a draw will be enough for Chinese Taipei. Well, there's the first one.
10 to win the match, 9, and they have to have a shoot-off.
Well, what pressure on this young lady here.
You can see that they shoot a lot quicker than Korea, and she has time.
And she's got the 9. So, 4 apiece, a draw here after 4 sets.
Exactly, and so here we'll have a shoot-off where each team will shoot 3 arrows. It'll be the highest score, and if they have the same score, whoever had the single closest arrow.
Well, there we go. 1 arrow apiece.
So each team, I believe Korea will shoot first because they elected to shoot first at the start.
Right,
So they'll open up and put on the pressure. Korea will shoot 1, Chinese Taipei will shoot 1, until each archer has shot 1 arrow.
So it's kind of like half a set, except they do take it in turns rather than shooting all 3 as a group. Well, they're just doing a count back, as you can hear in the background, and here we've got the Chinese Taipei arrows from all 4 sets. Not bad.
It's not bad, but you can see, particularly in the last ones, but overall they're going a little bit higher. They've not had a single arrow go low,
Korea and then Chinese Taipei.
We'll see how that plays in the shoot-off.
So we've had 4 sets here in the women's gold medal match between the world number 1, Korea, and the world number 2, Chinese Taipei. We couldn't separate them. Chinese Taipei, in fact, took a 4-point lead after 2 sets, but Korea showed while they're world number ones, drawing level at 4 apiece. So we go in to a 3-arrow per team shoot-off.
And you can see they're putting up a brand new target so they can truly measure who will be the closest to the middle.
Well, we saw smiles halfway through from the Korean team. We're seeing smiles here. Seems to me that when they look like they're enjoying themselves, they're shooting better.
Range clear.
Well, it's a huge crowd here in Pudong. It's a national holiday here, and they've all come out to watch some high-class archery. We're down to 6 arrows for the women's team Recurve Gold. Korea to shoot first.
It's quite interesting seeing them open with an 8. I mean, both teams started the match with 29, but starting the shoot off with an 8 is a bit costly.
Well, the pressure of a tiebreaker. And a 9, not too bad. Getting an early lead. But, I mean, you really feel the tension here. There's only 4 more arrows here. This is for the gold medal of the first stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup. So important.
She's come back with a 9, and it may not be enough at this point. Chinese Taipei may have found their footing again.
Well, momentum shifted from Chinese Taipei to Korea. Has it gone back towards the world number 2 team?
And I think it may have. I mean, they're just 9s, but they're so close to the 10 that shows they're shooting well. The Korean champion here.
Have to shoot 10, probably. It certainly needs to get inside the inner ring.
Interesting point here. If Chinese Taipei shoots a 9, they tie on score. However, Korea has the 10, so they do need to shoot a 10 and a better 10.
So again, the momentum has shifted. All the pressure on this final hour of the gold medal match. Oh, it has gone into the 9. They have tied up on score, but subject to confirmation, the Korean team, whose smiles reappeared after the 3rd set, shot through with more joy and more pleasure than they had done earlier on, and they've stolen the gold medal.
Exactly. I mean, the Chinese Taipei team, they were still going high after the last 2 sets, but Korea looked really happy with that, and perhaps they'll learn to have more fun at the next event, and that might help them.
Superb stuff here. A tiebreaker to settle the women's team Recurve gold medal match, and Korea have snatched it from Chinese Taipei. Clearly a happy bunch there. Ryan, we talked about momentum. It really did switch one way and another.
It really was. That was an interesting match. Chinese Taipei started really strong, putting every arrow in the middle, and then they started to drift upwards on the target. Maybe they felt more relaxed, or they felt a bit more tension the closer they got to the gold medal.
Well, we're getting some brilliant shots, highlights of the Koreans' arrows, and look at that grouping there, fabulous.
That was at that moment where they knew they had to put the hammer down and put some pressure on.
Well, some shots from the team from Chinese Taipei, and they really did shoot very well, but were a bit pipped at the post. So confirmation there of the Recurve women's team. Korea taking the gold, Chinese Taipei with the silver, and China, the host nation, in front of a massive partisan crowd, picking up the bronze medal.
I'm sure they'll feel an extra sense of pride being able to do it in front of their home nation as well.
Quite agree, and look at that fantastic skyline there, and there is that home crowd. having fun, being entertained. So we've had the women's team match, or matches, the bronze and the gold, and coming up very, very shortly will be the men's recurve team, and the bronze medal match will start us off there, followed by the gold medal match. But first up, we will have the medal ceremony for the women's team recurve. They just take a little while to set up the stage here, but not too long if yesterday's anything to go by. But after that, we will have China versus Germany and Korea versus Japan.
女士们、先生们，女子反举弓环体颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the recurve women team. 为我们颁发奖牌的是上海市浦东新区副区长李国华。Medals will be presented by Pudong New Area Deputy Administrative Chief 李国华。颁发奖杯的是上海市浦东新区教育体育局副局长张伟。Trophies will be presented by Pudong New Area Sports Deputy Director General 张伟。获得铜牌的是来自中国的选手。 Bronze medal representing China. 安琪轩、曹慧、齐玉红。 获得银牌的是来自中华台北的选手 ，Silver Medal representing Chinese Taipei。雷千英、彭千茂、陈亚季。 获得金牌的是来自韩国的选手 ，Gold Medal representing Republic of Korea。张黑鑫、唐晨阳。 李文炯、女士们、先生们，请起立！现在播放韩国国歌。Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Republic of Korea. 女士们、先生们，向我们的运动员献上最热情的掌声。Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our athletes.
Well, there we go. Fantastic women's team medal ceremony complete. And today's all about recurve, which is the Olympic archery discipline. Came back into the Olympics in 1972 and has featured at every single games. But we sent Ryan off to look into the traditional roots of the sport here in China.
I'm from Shanghai University of International Business and Economics. We are here to teach the archers to know Chinese traditional archery.
Adjust your target.
Chinese traditional archery is from 5,000 years ago. There's a very long history. From the Shang Dynasty, we found some evidence that through the archery we can find someone's gentle or some good behavior. That's Chinese traditional archery.
Hey, get on the paper! Yay!
The difference of the ball is mainly on the backhand. We use the thumb to draw and the arrow on the hand.
Honestly, it was interesting. I mean, at first it was difficult, which is what you'd expect from a new skill, but after a few shots, you think you're getting the hold of it, and then all of a sudden you miss the whole target.
Better, yeah. Getting there. You have to hold it in a completely different way, so with your thumb versus the 3 fingers that we're used to. That creates more of like a higher elbow angle, and just, yeah, it feels completely foreign to a recurve archer, even though it's, you know, traditional recurve.
Yeah, and that front arm is much the same, but yeah, having to hold onto your thumb with your finger is so weird. It feels quite weak, but it actually produces quite a nice little shot, so yeah, it's good fun.
The archer learn Chinese traditional archery very, very fast. They just need more practice. They can do it very well.
It's quite interesting that the athletes get to have an experience of the culture of the area, be it through archery or some other kind, and being able to appreciate different types of archery and different cultures in general means that you might get a greater understanding or different level of gratitude to the sheer nature of what we're doing as a sport.
Our people create this very special sport. People need to know why we practice this, why we compete each other. From this, we can learn some good compete spirit, such as respect your competitor, respect your target, and of course, respect yourself.
Well, with the history of this sport, it's very easy to be respectful. But we're now into the men's team, then the modern version of recurve, and it's a bronze medal match between, well, an interesting one, the world number 14 team, China, and the world number 13 team, Germany. And here we see progress to the semi-finals, where China lost in a tight one to Korea, and Germany in an equally tight one to Japan. Ryan, what can we expect from this one?
Who knows? I mean, the women's matches showed us that sometimes we get really surprised here, and we've actually got 3 of the same 4 nations from the previous women's matches.
Yeah, big crowd here, and they will be supporting their home nation team, of course, again. Fab. Oh, it's a fabulous setting. It's a really beautiful city, one of the most visited cities in the world, Shanghai, and we're in the Manhattan part of the town as we wait for the athletes to come out for this bronze medal match.
热烈的掌声欢迎1号马位的中国。On target number 1, representing People's Republic of China. 丁以亮。 王岩、王大鹏。2号马位来自德国。On target number 2, representing Germany.
Same two nations from the bronze medal match in the women's.
Florian Cullen, Maximilian Wegmüller, Felix Wieser. 担任本场比赛的起射线裁判是 The line judge for this match is Ozawa Yunji.
来，过来。China, you shoot first.
静下心来啊。
Germany, you shoot second.
做好自己动作就行，力量一定要想好自己。
Well, we're nearly ready to go. As you saw the referee saying that China will shoot first, Germany second. 3 arrows from each team will take us to the halfway stage of the first set, and you're watching the bronze medal match here from the Hyundai Archery World Cup Stage 1 in Shanghai. Can the men's Chinese team match what their women competitors did by taking the bronze medal? Well, a great start. Ryan, you mentioned that this is the same nation lineup as it was for the women. The Chinese managed to clinch the bronze medal in the women's event. Do you fancy the Chinese for the men's bronze?
Coming this far, like through the event, the Chinese have shot a lot more consistently than the German team, and we'll just see what happens. Their arrow average has been higher throughout this event.
And getting off to a good start's important. 18 out of a possible 20 from the first 2 for China.
Ooh, a 7. And you can see on his reaction that he wasn't happy with that shot. And he should be able to adjust quickly. He is an Olympic team finalist himself.
Germany pull to the left there. Now the astute amongst you will notice a bit more steady there, as you saw. He scored a 7 on his first arrow. He's adjusted quickly and picked up a 9.
And you can see there he was adjusting his sight just a little bit more.
So a 9-2 kick off the second half of the first set. So the scores build up accumulatively within the set, and the idea is to outscore your opponent, and then we switch over to a point system. So if you win a set, you score 2 points.
And exactly, so right here, they need the 10 to tie the set. So they'll get 1 point each, and it'll be the first to get to 5 points for teams. But anything less, and China will get 2 points and have an early lead.
Well, pressure on the final arrow for Germany, but it didn't show. They got the 10 and they drew level. A the points are shared in the first set of this bronze medal match in the men's recurve team event between China and Germany. And here we see the arrows in that first set. Ryan, talk us through what we can see here.
It's quite interesting. The German target looks relatively centered. They just need to bring themselves together and get a bit tighter. The Chinese team, those 2 8s out on the right-hand side, were both from the same archer. So as soon as he adjusts, they could be very powerful.
So hard to really call at the moment. The score obviously tied up, but as Ryan said, it's just tiny adjustments from both teams could make all the difference.
One set points to 1. China, you shoot first. Germany, you shoot second.
Often the nerves are settled a little bit in the first set, but here we're at the start of the second set, and as the scores are tied, China will shoot first again.
That archer having opened up with 2 10s, and now he's got an 8. That one having 2 8s and now having a 10.
Yeah, so they're sharing the load. And here is the third arrow from the Chinese team, and an unusual technique.
Yeah, I mean, this is something new that he's been doing this season. I haven't noticed it in the past, and it might have to do with preserving some of his body, or maybe a more traditional approach like we saw in the take before.
So a 27 out of a possible 30 for Germany. First 3 arrows of the second set now for Germany.
Gut so. Auf geht's, Bruder. 9,8 auf 7.
Still grouping pretty central there, and a 28 gives them a 1-point lead. Nothing in this still. China come back for their second 3 arrows in the second set of this bronze medal match.
10. So that guy's got 3 out of the 4 shots, and that 8 may have just been unlucky on his first time this set.
And it is all about consistently hitting the middle of the target. Oh, that one's drifted out to the left. So down to the man with the unusual technique.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the way that he raises the bow and he pushes forward as well as pulling back, which looks distinctly different to the majority of the shooters here. And it's all about whatever you can do the most repetitively.
Well, it's working for him. Another 10 and a 54 out of a possible 60. But will they pay for that 7 with the penultimate arrow? Well, another one drifting out to the left.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see, that the different archers have slightly different setups with their bows, and that helps them hold steady or control how it reacts. But maybe on the stadium out there, it's not working for them.
Drifting left again, 2 8s. They need a 10 to draw level. It's what they needed in the previous set. And here's the man again to try and do that deed.
And he's done it twice in a row, so they're keeping it tied. And now this will be forced to be a 4-set match.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. 2 apiece between China and Germany. It'll be interesting to see those groupings. And here they are. China in yellow, Germany in red.
You can see both teams are going a bit left. So obviously the wind has changed from the previous sets to now, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next one, if it's consistent or varied again.
Yeah, and pulling out 2 10s, 3 10s in fact for China. But the grouping perhaps a little bit tighter for Germany still.
It's a hard one to say. The majority of the Chinese group is tighter if you take out those 2 that vagrants they have.
Well put, as we look down the range and we pick up that unusual technique. You see that front arm pushes out.
Yeah, and he bumps his chin with the other one, and then so from this position it looks relatively normal or typical for an archer.
But it's the way that the bow is coming up that's the unusual thing.
It's an unusual way that he's lifting up.
Well, there's nothing between these 2 teams. They've split the points in the first 2 sets. China will still lead us out. First 3 arrows from them in set number 3 of this bronze medal match. Well, one slightly high, but still not bad. The second one slightly lower. So it's going to be down to the number 3 to put one right down the center.
Exactly. He's done it in the past. His last set was really good. We'll see what he does now.
Well, just drifting away again and not looking so comfortable like we saw from his very first arrow of the first set.
Yeah, exactly. And that might have to do with that unusual technique we're watching. He didn't look happy with it, but he got away with it in the end, and so he's going to be really glad that he didn't cost them the set just there.
Well, Maximilian Weckmüller leading out for the Germans. Well, 2 9s. That's pretty good, seeing as China have opened up a potential for a 5-hit lead here after just in the 3rd set. 10, 20, or 29 scored, or 28 scored, sorry, so a 3-point lead in the first half. We talked about momentum earlier on, Ryan. You know, when teams are so close, does just a tiny shift in momentum make a big difference?
The momentum can come from just shooting consistently and getting a few 10s in there, and you can build on that as a team, and you'll feel more comfortable hitting the middle.
And it's pretty fast. You don't really have time to recover from a mistake. You've just got to crack on with it and forget what's happened in the past.
Yeah, exactly. There's a fair bit of time management involved, and if you get too caught up, you might have to reset and try and have another attempt at your shot, but there isn't really that much time to do that.
As you see the clock counting down, the last archer's got just over 20 seconds for China. Well, second half much better from the Chinese athletes. So they get a 54 out of a potential magic score of 60.
And now it'll come down to if Germany can hold it together, they might actually win this set.
A 10 is a great start. Yeah, 2 points will do it. 55 points overall will give them a 2-point set lead, and that's enough.
And so you can see there's a 9-star there, and what that means is that they're actually going to have to review it later with the judge to see if it was a 9 or a 10.
Well, just adding to the drama there.
and a 10 to finish. So they've won that set. And they've finally broken the tie.
Yeah, well, they've done it there. An amazing one. They don't even need to go to have that penultimate arrow measured. Of course, they will. But an interesting lineup there. China stole the bronze in the women's team event, but they weren't able to win the bronze medal here.
But there's still one more set. They can force a shoot-off.
Target 2. X 10 10 9 9 9.
So the judge has called it a 9, and the German agent there doesn't seem to really agree with that, but given that it's not consequential, he didn't bother arguing.
Interesting, and that of course is because the scores are only accumulative within the actual set. And here we see from the ranking rounds, they only qualified in 15th place and are still in with a chance here.
Exactly, and so it really shows you that who can keep the head together in the matches can play a bigger role as opposed to where you actually ranked. And amazingly, Germany shot really, really well. The second best score on the field to beat Netherlands in the first round.
Well, they needed to pull it back together, but here they are. They only need to tie.
Exactly, and so a tie here will win, and China, if they can come out of the gate hard, might put the pressure on, and we'll see who can maintain the composure.
Good start required, and a good start it is. So we already seen one tiebreaker today. In order for China to seal that up, they need to outscore the Germans in this fourth set.
A 9, that might be enough with the way they've been shooting, but the Germans' last set was really good. Mr. Unorthodox, he wasn't happy with his execution again, and we'll see if that might cost them here.
Well, an unusual technique. It's paid off a couple of times, but equally he's pulled a few. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, the ones that have pulled off have all pulled off to the left.
Except for the very first shot, they've all gone left, you're correct. And so, interestingly, his second shot each set has actually been better.
Well, the Germans start with a 10.
And an 8, so still keeping it close. They need a 10 to hold the lead so far, but a 9 will be enough here.
But if they can steal just a 1-point lead here after the first half, you'd have to fancy them. And you could see from his face then he wasn't happy with that one.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe he was aiming a bit off, or he held a bit longer than he was comfortable with. And so now China actually has a chance to force the shoot-off right here.
Well, 3 arrows to save the day for them in this bronze medal match. They start with an 8. And the way they're shooting, both teams are shooting in this set, that might be still okay.
Took his time on that one, and it may, he may have had a bit of trouble in the wind, or maybe he just has that little bit of extra tension bringing him a bit closer.
Yep, and it's another 8.
Mr. Unorthodox puts it in the 10.
10, you're quite right. Every second arrow from Mr. Unorthodox has been absolutely fabulous. And a chance, though, for the Germans, 3 to try to get this bronze medal here in Shanghai. And a 9 is not a bad start.
2 more 9s and they will win the match. What can Felix come with on the second shot?
It's at 18. We'll tie the scores up at 53. Oh, just drifting into the 8, which now means a 10 is required in order to draw the scores level in this set. and share the points with the Chinese to take the bronze medal.
And Florian here has done it in the first 2 sets. He shot that needed 10.
Bang! Straight down the middle. He's been brilliant. He has tied them up with a 10, and Germany win the bronze medal match here in Shanghai.
Every single last arrow that he shot has been a 10.
Well, they're delighted with their archery here, and no surprise, the big man, the anchor, nailed the 10s throughout, and Germany have taken the bronze here at the Hyundai Archery World Cup Stage 1 in Shanghai.
Thank you.
Well, we get some brilliant pictures here of some of the arrows from the home team, and there are the bronze medalists. Kept it tight through the first 2 sets, but the momentum shifted over to the Germans, and they collect the Shanghai bronze. So that's the bronze out of the way. It's one more match in this session here in Pudong, Shanghai, and it's the gold medal in the recurve men's team. Here we see the tail of the tape and how the 2 teams got through to the final. Korea, world #1, had a 5-4 victory over China to get here, and Japan, the world #6 team, also won their semi-final 5-4. So we will see the Koreans go up against the Japanese in an all-Asian final.
And the Korean team, the current world Olympic champions as well.
Well, this crowd couldn't ask for more here as we wait for the teams to come out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the athletes to the field for the recurve men's team gold medal match. 1号靶位韩国 On target #1, representing Republic of Korea. Kim Woo-ji, Lee Woo-seok, Oh Shin-hye. 2号靶位来自日本 On target #2, representing Japan. Furukawa Takaharu, Kuraya Tomoaki, Moto Hiroki. 担任本场比赛的起射线裁判是 The line judge for this match is Pacific 10.
Archers, get ready. Korea shoots first. Japan shoots second.
Well, we're just about to get underway here for the gold medal match here at the Hyundai Archery World Cup Stage 1 in Shanghai. It's Korea, the world #1 team, and Japan, the world #6 team. They both came through tiebreakers to make it to this gold medal match, and Korea will shoot first.
And he shot an X, and so as you can see, like, they had their shoot-off, and both teams shot extremely well in the shoot-off, so it comes down to it. It might be interesting there too.
Yeah, so the tiebreakers in the semis were very interesting because Korea, well, they tied up 28 apiece in the tiebreaker with China.
Yeah, and the Japanese team, on the other hand, they shot a 28, and Germany shot a 19 in the shoot-off. Who knows what happened there?
Well, a good start from the Koreans. So just if you're new to a recurve team archery, you get 6 arrows per team, 3 team members. They'll shoot in 2 groups of 3, so the Koreans have had their very first 3 arrows of the first set, so we'll switch over to the first 3 to Japan, and then rinse and repeat. Scoring interesting though, Ryan, in this competition. You have an accumulative score, but it's all about winning the sets.
Exactly, and so the Olympic silver medalist from 2012, he opened up with a 10, and they might actually be able to win this first set, but what happens right here won't affect the next sets.
Yeah, so you can recover from a bad set. Consistency is the name of the game in archery, and 2 10s mean a total score of 20 out of a possible 20 so far.
And they have an 8 there, but they still have the lead in the set so far, and so Korea has to come back strong here because Japan, also a strong nation.
But we talked about sort of the simple idea to the game. Put your arrows as close to the center of the target. Okay, it's 70 meters away, but the concept is fairly simple. But really, this is all about controlling your mind.
Controlling your mind and being able to feel what you're doing, and the ability to stay consistent, obviously, in your mind and in your body from shot to shot.
And for me, the question is that as world #1 team, is all the pressure on Korea, and Japan can just go out there and play the game?
Honestly, who knows? But he almost hit the crosshair on that shot, and so maybe they're not feeling as much pressure as what you think they are.
Not going to draw you out then and say all the pressure is on Korea.
Interestingly, this gentleman, the 2012 Olympic champion as well. It's almost a rematch.
Well, that's why he's the Olympic champion. A better second half for Korea here in the first set, and they've set a target score of 55 to beat. If Japan can level up on scores, they'll get a point with Korea in the first set. If they score 56, they'll get a 2-0 lead.
He took quite a while to take that shot, but he showed his experience and his maturity in the sport to be able to still get a 9 with it.
If you hold on too long, I mean, do you see archers reset, or do they get the jitters maybe?
It's an interesting one, especially in matches with such limited time, 25 seconds for their last 2 shots.
That isn't much at all, actually, and the pressure is really going to be on Japan's final archer here. 15 seconds on the clock to go, but only has to score an 8 to level. Inside 10 seconds left. Oh, getting close.
Oh, beautiful. And so obviously the first archer knew that he couldn't reset because of how much time was on the clock, and the coach may have suggested that he just push through and shoot it.
But there was, you could see the tension in the arm of the archer there from Japan, and pretty happy with that.
Exactly, you can see the relief on his face.
Yeah, well, good shooting from the Japanese team. Really super consistent. 4 out of 6 10s. Have a look at this.
You can see they're all just a little bit high right, but they do have those 4 10s, so we'll see if they make any adjustments to get a bit closer to the center or not.
And the 2 stray ones?
And so it could just be that maybe it's a bad shot, or they picked the wind wrong, or just a bit of extra tension.
Call them stray shots, man.
Yeah.
In real terms, they're only a few centimeters away. Brilliant. Look at that.
And that's that last one there under pressure.
So super shooting from the Japanese team, and they've taken a 1 set or a 2-point lead going into the second here in the gold medal match in the men's team recurve.
So he's open up for next, and that'll be really good for them to put the pressure on the other team, but they shot first. They chose to shoot first in the first set, and now, because they're trailing in the match, they have to shoot first.
Yeah, and interesting what that does to teams. Some teams do like to shoot first. As you say, Korea chose to shot first in the second, lay down a marker, and this is a brilliant marker to be laying down in the second set.
We might get to look at that group later, but we can see it here. As every single arrow so far has been in the X, and can Oh Jin-hyuk continue that trend?
Well, just in the 9, but only dropping a point out of a possible 30. The Koreans have scored 29. And now it's up to the Japanese team to match that.
And they're probably starting with their most experienced archer so that the other two shooters feel comfortable following his 10s.
So order does play a really big part in team play.
Yeah, the person that shoots first can set up the momentum for those 3 shots. If he starts well or if he has an awkward shot, it might affect the other two.
Well, a 10 and a 9 to start with. And the grouping and the consistency of the arrows, well, suggesting to me as the layman that perhaps the wind has completely died off.
It could have, but it also could just show you how talented these shooters are right now. And he has shot an 8, but maybe he's trying to adjust. You can see the sock there. There isn't much wind, but maybe he was just a little bit excited from being able to shoot that 10 in the 10 seconds before.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got to settle. So the second 3 arrows here in the second set for Korea. Oh, look at that. I mean, that's even a tighter group than Japan had in the first set there.
Kim Woo-jin, who just shot then, he was ranked first individually, so it's obvious why when you see him shoot 10s like that. Oh, beautiful.
Well, Japan got 4 10s in the first set, and Korea said, right, we need to up our game. 4 10s and a 9, 49 out of a possible 50. Under 10 seconds to go, though. And just drifting low and opening up the grouping there, but still a 9 and a 58 out of 60.
And they've clinched that set, and so he obviously knew how much time, and he's trained under that tension and the ability to not get worried about it, still shoot a decent shot and enough to clinch the set.
And Japan, look, even though they cannot score, they're getting maximum points, they can score a 30, which will take them to 57 points. They're still going to go through the process of firing their arrows down this 70-meter range here in Shanghai.
Less than 10 seconds again.
Yeah, and still nails it down the middle here. Well, Japan got the bragging rights in the first set, and Korea has struck straight back. It's 2 points apiece here in this gold medal match, and we are set up for a brilliant finale to this first session.
So you can see the Korean group here that they've had those 2 9s, but they've shooting really tight 10s there.
Japan, 10, 9, 8.
Yeah, so you're saying that these groupings are good, but that last arrow just dropping low. But the team is a big mix, isn't it, in the Koreans?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Lee Woo-suk is a relatively new name. He may have competed last year a bit, but Oh Jin-hyuk has been to multiple Olympics now, and Kim Woo-jin, when Oh Jin-hyuk was Olympic champion, he was the junior world champion at the time.
So sort of learning off the old dog?
Possibly. I mean, that might be why they're putting him last, or maybe they just don't. Who knows what they're doing? They put the most consistent shooter first to start up well, and the most experienced shooter last to handle the pressure. That's what it appears like.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty good for them in the second set, but they had to fight back against a fairly strong performance from Japan in that first set. We're getting ready for the third set here in Shanghai. It's gold up for grabs. Korea versus Japan.
And And then there you see it again. He shot 3 10s over his last 3 arrows. Actually, all but one of his shots so far have been in the 10. And their youngest shooter shooting the 8, and so he might be happy knowing he's got such strong shooters with him, but we'll see how that goes towards the end.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The margin of error that is being afforded to him to some extent. I talk about margin of error, I mean, he's still hitting 8s.
And a 9, so Oji Heck is consistently shooting 9s, but hopefully for them that will be enough.
27 out of a possible 30. Japan's turn.
And so they've opened up with an 8-9 liner. It looks like it will be out. And another 8.
Yeah, well, the best they can do here is a 26, but that's dependent on this man shooting a 10.
And there it is, beautiful.
Nailed it. Still trailing by 1, but that could be a very, very important arrow.
And now, Kim Woo Jin here, we're actually going to see him in the gold medal match this afternoon for the individual.
We're going to be seeing 3 of the 4 athletes out there later on today, aren't we?
Yeah, so there's another 10. So Lee Woo-sok here, we're actually going to see him shoot against Furukawa from Japan, who shoots first, and that's going to be the bronze medal match this afternoon.
Yeah, in the individual, but it's all about teams this morning, and a 10 for Korea. The momentum looks like it's just slightly switched over to them, and the youngster picking up another 10 himself.
A 10 here will lock the set without any chance for Japan to take any points.
Yeah, put the Koreans in a commanding position. Oh, he's dropped the arrow.
You can see he's had to reset there. Maybe he wasn't happy with it, or maybe he pulled back too fast too soon, and now he only has 5 seconds.
Well, still gets a 9, so a perfect score from Japan will draw them level, and they'll still be inseparable on set points. But 3 10s required. Well,
there's
pressure doesn't look like it's affecting Furukawa, and of course setting himself up nicely for later on today.
We'll see if the experience here will help him out this afternoon.
Well, there you go, drifting up into the 8 there, and the set has just crept away. And going first and laying down that marker for Korea has paid dividends here in set number 3 of this gold medal match. They are going to lead 4 set points to 2, and if they can level on scores with Japan in the next set, they will have won.
Exactly, and if Japan can do what they did in the first set, shoot strong, they'll actually have a shoot-off just like we saw in the previous match.
그냥 그래 하면 돼. 근데 이제 시합이 니한테 아쉬운 거는 실수를 해도 8점을 쏘지 말아야 돼. 그것도 한번 해보라고. 그러니까 안 됐을 때는 너무 정확하게 하지 말고 둥글게 해갖고 9점이라도 쏴야 돼. 포인트도 조금 밑에.
Well, important chat with the coaches there between the 2 teams. Oh, and here we see that reset, and how crucial is that?
Well, we're about to see exactly what happened, and as you can see, is if you really paid attention, his clicker dropped early, and so you use that to tell you when you've pulled back enough and the same every time. And if you have enough time, he made the right choice by having a second attempt at that shot.
We just saw that look of anguish, but only for a fraction of a second on his face. He was able to reset. And how crucial is it when you're in that situation just to be able to get back on, get back on the horse, for want of a better phrase?
Exactly. You train that situation all the time, and even though you've practiced it again and again and again, when it happens in the crunch time like this, you can still set you off just a little bit.
Well,
Range clear.
that's all in the past. The range is clear, and then the athletes are ready to come out. Japan with a big contingent you saw in the crowd supporting them, trailing, so they will shoot first. They're shooting to keep themselves in the gold medal match here in Shanghai.
Beautiful shot.
A 9. You can see as they pull back and they're holding on, looking down. Obviously they're setting themselves up, but you can start to see a little bit of tension in their arms the longer they hold on.
He actually took quite a lot of time to take that shot, and that might eat into the towards the end. They might have a bit of a rush again, and it was really interesting to see he could still shoot the yellow.
Well, a 10. Pretty good start here. But, as Ryan, our expert international Olympic archery medalist from Australia, said the clock is ticking down.
And they're able to get their time back, so they've only 2 seconds over the halfway mark, so they should be able to finish it within the time frame.
Well, we've had the first 3 from Japan. They've dropped a possible 2 out of the target score of 30 over to Korea.
And it's a 9, so is that his first one out? No, his second one out. But it's still really close. But that one's not out.
Yeah, and it's interesting the psyche of the younger athlete there going in the middle. He's hit a couple of 8s leading out in the first 2 sets and a couple of 10s.
Ooh, that looks like it should be a 9.
Just creeping into the 9s there.
Japan's still in for a chance though.
Yeah, level after 3. Japan must outscore Korea to stay in the gold medal match. Well, 2 9s.
Really looking for a 10 here, but Korea did have the chance to win it last year, and it came really close, and they got the second.
Yeah, I think it was the anchor man. Who's the anchor man here? 5 seconds left to go for Japan. You were right, Ryan. Time could play a part just on the clock.
Tell you what, it may not be enough, but he should be really proud of being able to get that arrow off in that time frame with 1 second left.
Right, a possible score of 30 here in the second 3 arrows, so they could get to 58. A 10 just on the line will score the 10.
날렸어.
18 required to get the points they need to take the gold in Shanghai. A 9, and I think that probably is enough. An 8 will tie the score, and an 8 will give Korea the point they need to take the gold medal in Shanghai. Well, it looks like it could be another 10, and they've taken the set to go 4 points into the lead and take the gold medal here in the Hyundai Archery World Cup Stage 1 in Shanghai. It was a brave performance from Japan, but the world #1 team, Korea, are the title holders here in 2018.
It is worth noting that Japan did really well, and as the host nation for the next Olympics, they should be really proud and excited with the potential they have going forward.
Very good point, and of course recurve is the Olympic discipline, being at every single Olympic Games since 1972, and a proud nation of Japan will be hosting the Games. But here, it's all about the Koreans. A photo call and celebration, thumbs up to a big contingent in the crowd who've been supporting them. They have won the Recurve men's team gold here in Shanghai. They get some lovely shots of some of the great shooting from both teams, and as you said, I mean, Japan came out of the block super well, but the Koreans were so consistent.
Yeah, exactly. The difference there is that Japan started awesomely and they kind of trailed off, but they still shot well. And Korea started a little slow and built up with their momentum really fast.
Yeah, and the groupings, as you can see from these replays, getting super tight as we get some of the shots that show the steadiness required to be at the top of this very intriguing game. Fist pumps all round, and no surprise, they are the gold medalists. And here is confirmation. Korea take the title here in Shanghai. Japan, they played very well, but they'll have to settle for the silver, and Germany snatched the bronze medal from China. Well, we've got medal ceremony coming up here in Shanghai. The crowd just getting ready to get themselves in position to take photos of the medalists. And that will conclude this session of archery. Team medals complete for men and women. Coming up this afternoon in the second and final session from stage 1 of the Hyundai Archery World Cup in Shanghai will be the mixed team competition, a very intriguing setup. And the individual finals, really looking forward to those. They will come to us at 1:30 local time here in Shanghai. But next up, it's the medal ceremonies.
女士们、先生们，男子反水弓团体颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the Recurve men team.为我们颁发奖牌的是上海市体育局局长徐斌。Medals were presented by Shanghai Sports Administration Director General Xu Bin。颁发奖杯的是上海市浦东新区教育体育局局长朱慧华。Trophies will be presented by Pudong New Area Sports Director General 朱慧华。获得铜牌的是来自德国的选手 ，Bronze Medal representing Germany。Florian Kagan、Maximilian Wackmüller、Felix Wieser。获得银牌的是来自日本的选手 ，Silver Medal representing Japan。Moto Hiroki、Kuroya Tomoaki、Furukawa Takaharu。 获得金牌的是来自韩国的选手 ，Gold medal representing Republic of Korea。欧信黑，李武秀。 김훈신女士们、先生们，请起立！现在播放韩国国歌。 Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Republic of Korea. 女士们、先生们，向我们的运动员献上最热情的掌声。Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our athletes.
Well, how many archers can you get on the top step of the podium in Shanghai? That is the team competition complete here, and the session complete as well. Women's team saw Korea top of the table, as we saw in the men's team event here in beautiful Shanghai. And we're right amongst the brilliant skyline here in Pudong. Here's what we've got. Here's what we've had this morning. In fact, the bronze and gold medal matches in the women's team and men's team recurve. Korea taking both titles. Next session coming up, mixed team and the individuals. Thank you so much, Ryan Tyback, for joining us.
That's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And do come back this later on today for the final session. But that's it from us for now.